And good morning, friends. Welcome to The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben, and thanks for joining us. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll get your calls in our next segment. If you have questions, comments, success stories you'd like to share, or if you just want to contribute to the conversation, 844-236-6010 is our number. Dr. Frederick Wiedemann will be with us at the bottom of the hour, author of Between Two Worlds, The Riddle of Wholeness. Dr. Wiedemann is a local Colorado friend of mine, and I've known Dr. Wiedemann, I've been trying to get him on The Bright Side for many years. Finally, he's agreed. He has a really cool little process he calls the Flash Awake. We're going to talk about that, and we'll also talk about his book, Between Two Worlds, The Riddle of Wholeness, at the bottom of the hour. We'll get your calls in our next segment, 844-236-6010. If you want to purchase longevity products, head to brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. You can also sign up to join the Brightside Ben team off the websites, brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. If you're an entrepreneur, if you like the entrepreneur lifestyle, or you've benefited, you or your friends or your loved ones or family have benefited from nutritional supplementation and you want to pay it forward, or you just want to be part of the billion-dollar nutritional supplement business, please call 866-735-2470 for info, or click on the Join the Team link at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. Our number today, 844-236-6010. We'll get to your calls in our next segment, and we'll be speaking with Dr. Frederick Wiedemann, clinical psychologist and author of the book Between Two Worlds, The Riddle of Wholeness, at the bottom of the hour. All right, I want to continue talking about oxidation and enzymes. On our last program, we talked about we started to talk about one of those powerful ways to increase lifespan, to reduce body temperature, to improve enzyme activity, and that is calorie restriction. Calorie restriction has always been linked to a longer lifespan historically. When I was in pharmacy school, we used to call the calorie restriction diet the CRON diet, the calorie restriction with optimum nutrition diet, or some people say the CRAN diet, the calorie restriction with adequate nutrition diet. Calorie restriction helps you stabilize your blood temperature, it helps you stabilize your blood sugar, it helps you conserve enzymes, it activates energizing hormone systems. That's right. It's kind of weird. People think, oh, I need to eat for energy. Well, it actually turns out that when we fast or when we practice calorie restriction, we activate energizing hormones and energizing biochemistry. Hunger can have a positive role. When the body is deprived of calories, it activates chemicals that help us go out and find food from an evolutionary biology perspective, that is. These days there's food everywhere, so it's more like disciplining ourselves not to eat. But back in the days when our bodies were forming on the African savanna, when calories were scarce and when calories weren't present, the body would upregulate energizing systems. And to this day, when we are hungry, our body activates energizing hormones and energizing chemicals, and after we eat, we feel like we need a nap. It's kind of ironic. We think we need to eat for energy, and in a way, of course we do need to eat and we do need nutrition, but in a way, the less we eat, the more energy we have. Fasting is probably the most underappreciated of all the anti-aging strategies. And fasting also has another really important role to play in improving health, and that is in upregulating a biological process called autophagy. A-U-T-O-P-H-A-G-Y, autophagy. Autophagy is self-digestion. It's our body's self-cleaning biochemistry. Under ordinary circumstances, under healthy circumstances, cells and the parts of cells age and they wear out, and then these cells and cell parts are replaced. This wearing out and replacement occurs every second of every minute, of every hour, of every day that we're alive. We're constantly wearing out. Parts of us are constantly wearing out, and parts of us are constantly being replaced. Our body parts are constantly turning over, and in this way, we are constantly becoming brand new. The body you have at this moment is a different body than you had at the beginning of this program. We're constantly turning over. Cells are constantly turning over. Atoms of cells are constantly turning over. Parts of cells are constantly turning over. Tissues are constantly turning over. Our body parts are constantly turning over. In the Bible it's written, "Behold, I make all things new." Revelations 21:5. And whoever wrote that phrase could easily have been talking about our biological form, our bodies. This renewing process is a guarantee that we can heal, that we can always heal, and we can always reverse the disease process, the chronic, long-term, degenerative disease process, and this renewing is built into our very biochemistry. It's built into our very biological nature. The body we have now, the body we have today, is not the body we had yesterday. It's not the body we had last week. It's not the body we had last year. And as the body's turning over, something has to be done with all of the old parts, all the old cells, all of the old subcellular structures. And this is where autophagy comes in. As part of healthy biological functioning, the body will digest all the old parts. Cells will digest all of the old parts. There's a little structure inside the cells that acts like a garbage disposal or as an incinerator. And all of the old parts and the cells themselves will recycle their components and make new parts and new cells. This digesting activity is what's called autophagy, self-eating. And not surprisingly, it works via the action of digestive enzymes. Digestive enzymes called proteases and sometimes lipases. These waste products are basically proteins and fats. And these waste products are dissolved by digestive enzymes, proteases, and lipases because most of the structural components of the cells are protein and fat. All cells have this little recycle bin, this little garbage disposal. Actually, all cells have hundreds of these recycle bins, these little garbage disposals. And as the intracellular parts are breaking down, they're delivered to these little recycling components, these little bags of enzymes, essentially. They're called lysosomes. Lys means to destroy, some means body. Lysosome is a destroying body or a destroying structure. And little packets of digestive enzymes will integrate themselves with this subcellular structure, this lysosome. And then from there, the enzymes in these little packets will break down the old cell parts as well as the biochemicals into their constituent building blocks, the amino acids and the fatty acids, the fats, which can then be released from the liposome, go into the cell, and make new parts. This is so amazing. This is so amazing. You know, the details aren't as important as just the sheer amazingness of the complexity and all of the organization that's going on inside a cell. You got hundreds of these little garbage disposal systems, and old parts of old substructures are constantly being shuttled into these little garbage disposal systems, and enzymes are breaking them down, and all these little parts, the component parts, are then getting spit out back into the cell, and then the cell will make new Golgi apparatus, new endoplasmic reticulums, new genetic material. New components are actually made up out of these old parts. This is so amazing. How does this little cell have the intelligence to do all this? Nobody knows. It's just awe-inspiring if you sit and meditate and contemplate on what is actually happening inside a cell. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back right after this. Okay, we are back on The Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll get your calls in just a moment. Dr. Frederick Wiedemann will be with us at the bottom of the hour. We're going to talk about his book, Between Two Worlds, The Riddle of Wholeness, and then I also want to talk about Frederick's process called Flash Awake, which is really interesting stuff. That'll be at the bottom of the hour, and we'll get your calls here momentarily. I want to just say a few more things about lysosomes. When lysosomes begin to become less functional, which is what happens as we age, wastes can start to accumulate. And one of these wastes is very interesting stuff that we talk about on this program. I've talked about it periodically over the years, but you don't hear a lot about it in the world of health, which is unfortunate because a lot of aging is associated with this substance. It's called lipofuscin, Lipofuscin, which is a kind of yellowish, brownish pigment. It's been called the pigment of aging. Basically, it's old cell parts, and these old cell parts and old cell debris, I guess you could say, or under ordinary circumstances, under healthy circumstances, will get digested by the lysosomes and by lysozymes, the enzymes in the lysosomes. But as we age, this does not occur as well as it should. And there's a lot of diseases, including Alzheimer's disease and heart disease and various neurological health problems, including macular degeneration, eye diseases, that are associated with the accumulation of this pigment of aging, but you don't hear a lot about it. It also shows up in the skin sometimes. If you are afraid or concerned that you're dealing with lipofuscin issues, and you can tell on the skin anyway by this accumulation of pigment that doesn't seem to be responsive to ordinary depigmentizing agents like hydroquinone or retinoic acid or retinol or vitamin C, there are things that you can do. In fact, there's one thing in particular that's really important for helping drain or support the elimination of this lipofuscin aging pigment, and that involves the lymphatic system, which we will be talking about extensively in the next few Brightside episodes. All right, time to hit the phones, 844-236-6010. Let's go to Dorium. What's up, Dorium? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I had a question regarding the adrenals and leg strength, actually.
Did you say leg strength?
Yes, yeah,
okay.
Leg strength.
Okay.
Because I was walking yesterday, maybe about 1.5 miles, I would say, not very long.
Yeah.
And then maybe when I walked to the park about 1.5 miles away, my legs started to tremble during my walk, and I wanted to find out if that was related to the adrenals at all.
Probably has something to do with adrenal glands, but more than likely it sounds like you have some muscle weakness, which is the first thing I would think about is nutritional deficiencies, especially in the B vitamins. You're a young guy, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah, that should not be happening. Did you have a health? I forgot if you had some kind of. What is your health?
Type 1 diabetes, and I'm guessing that may have something to do with it as well.
It might have something to do with blood sugar. It might have something to do with your blood sugar not being controlled. And does it happen in the middle of the night at all, by any chance?
It did not happen in the night, but I recognize it when I go on extended walks.
Yeah, it might have something to do with blood sugar control. That would be my guess. If you're dealing with type 1 diabetes, you're taking insulin?
I do.
Yeah, you might want to work on your dose of insulin. If you're taking too much insulin, you may be not getting enough sugar to your muscles. That could be an issue, and it may be that your muscles are weak too. You might have weakened muscles. So are you?
Yesterday.
What's that? Yeah, it might be that your muscles are weak, but it shouldn't be. That's pretty weak if you can't walk a mile. That sounds pretty dramatic. It could have something to do with the adrenal glands. Are you a coffee drinker?
I do sometimes. I do sometimes.
Yeah, I'm thinking it has more to do with blood sugar. I'd start using things like the B vitamins if you're not already. Or try this. Why don't you have any Beyond Tangy Tangerine, Dorium?
I have some, yes.
Sip on BTT while you're walking.
Okay.
Sip on the BTT while you're walking. See if that makes a difference, and let me know. I'd be curious to know if that was it. If that's the case, then that would involve electrolytes in the B complex.
Okay.
The Beyond Tangy Tangerine is a concentrated source of electrolytes in the B complex that you get into your system really quickly because it's liquid. So sip on it while you're walking, and let me know. Give me a call back. Let me know if that helps you.
Okay. My nephew had a question for you as well. Hold on.
Yeah?
Yeah, give me a question.
About the virus, people coughing from getting coughing from the virus, and they got sick.
Yeah. What's your question, young man?
What's the question? Ask him a question.
And
what do you want to know about it?
About the virus, people getting.
I don't know what the question is, but here's my take for you, young man. Don't worry about the virus. You take care of your health. Dorian, you help your young nephew understand that it's not about the virus; it's about his health, because he's getting all kinds of garbage from the news and from his school and from wherever he's hanging out, probably his friends and his friends' families, that tell him to be afraid of the virus. Don't be afraid of the virus. Take care of your health. That's the message.
Yes.
All right. Thanks,
Okay.
Dorian. Thank you,
so
young Dorian's nephew. Appreciate your call. All right, let's go to Pamela in California. What's up, Pamela? I'm glad you called, by the way, Pamela. Before I forget, there's this guy who's been trying to get a hold of you.
That's why I'm calling, and I have some information, but I don't know if I have time to give it to you.
Yeah, you do. You got a couple minutes here.
Okay.
What do you got?
There are two companies. The first company is called Dinas with a D. D-E is in Edward, N is in no, A is in Apple, S, Pain Relief Store, all one word, www.dinaspainreliefstore.com. There's an area code 503-395-4142, and the name of the man that sold it to me was named Jimmy, okay?
Okay. And the machine, is it Dinas machine?
And this is the Russian Scanar, the one that I talked about on the radio. Okay. The second company is up in Canada called SOTA, S as in Sam, O as in Oscar, T as in Tom, A.com. They sell these medical magnets, silver makers, color machines, ozonators, all kinds of things. and they're open from 8 to 4 West Coast time, and they had to go to Canada to get a little more health freedom up there, and they call their things experimental, so they can sell them legally.
Now, what was the machine that you used?
I've used them all. I mean, okay. I used the Scanar. It was talked about in the magazine What Doctors Don't Know. There was a huge article on it a couple years ago.
On the Scanar.
Yeah, on how this woman healed her tendinitis in like 2 times after using it.
Okay, so it's called a Scanar machine, SCANAR?
SCENAR. And there are different companies that make them, but the magnet is really good because you can use the magnet in your lymphatic areas. And what it does is it cleans out, and this is from Sota. You can put it, where you've got a lot of your lymph glands under your arms, etc. And if you have any type of bacteria or viruses or anything in there, it just cleans it right out.
And you can get the Scanar machine off Sota?
No, you can get that from the Denos Pain Relief Store.
Got it.
And,
okay.
and the other instrument, Sota, they have an online newsletter with all these success stories. They've healed eye infections. They've healed just everything by using. But the other one is the Silver Pulsar, which is you can make your own silver, and it also makes a small electric pulse that goes into the body, raises the vibrational frequency.
I appreciate.
And their phone number 800-224-0242.
Thank you so much. Hey, Pamela, if you get a chance, send me an email, ben@ksco.com, and put your contact info in there. I would appreciate that. Thanks, Pamela. Take care, and thanks for the information. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. Frederick Wiedemann coming up next.
We've all seen...
Okay, we are back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific and 10 to 11 Central Time, and 24/7 on the archive page at brightsideben.com. We have a search engine up, as well as all the longevity products at brightsideben.com and pharmacistben.com and criticalhealthnews.com. You can purchase longevity products off the website. You can also sign up to join the Brightside Ben team off the website as well. Off the websites, brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, and criticalhealthnews.com. And don't forget to take a look at our Truth Skin Health products. Truth Skin Health products can be had at truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com. Never any preservatives, fragrances, fillers, waxes, emulsifiers, nothing your skin doesn't need or doesn't want in any of our Truth Skin Health products, all formulated by myself in my compounding pharmacy for helping folks deal with various skin health issues like acne, psoriasis, eczema, dry skin, wrinkles, and helping prevent post-surgical scarring. As it turns out, when you heal the skin, you beautify the skin, and that's why we have 1,700 plus 4- and 5-star reviews, which you can find at truthreviewed.com. That's truthreviewed.com with a D. Truthtreatments.com to purchase our Truth Skin Health products. Truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com. All right, I am looking forward to speaking to our guest today. Dr. Frederick Wiedemann is the author of the book Between Two Worlds, The Riddle of Wholeness, and he's also the developer, I guess you'd say, of a really cool process called the Flash Awake. He is a clinical psychologist as well as a spiritual guide, and as he says, he's been in the trenches with hundreds of clients for 45 years, helping, healing, and learning what works and doesn't work. Please welcome to the bright side, Dr. Frederick Wiedemann. Hey, Dr. Fred.
Hey, Mr. Ben. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, good to talk to you as well. It's been a long time since I've seen you. I think the last time I saw you was at a longevity meeting many, many years ago. Is that right?
It was, and I remember you as this radiant being, not just your skin radiant, but you as a being radiant.
Oh, my gosh.
I love it.
Dr. Fred, that's a high compliment coming from you. So,
absolutely.
I read your Flash Awake several years ago, and I just absolutely loved it because I've always felt like, as the Buddha said, that you can be enlightened in a second. You can wake up in a split second, and all it takes is just right. And I love how you talked about the Flash Awake. So I want to discuss your 5 life-changing ideas: the unifying field, the paradox of wholeness, the soul flow, and the green joy flash. But I also want the Flash Awake is the thing that excites me the most. But tell us a little bit about that, and tell us how you developed it, how you came up with it.
Okay, good. Just give me a context. Have we got 30 minutes on this call or 25 minutes?
We got about another 7 minutes or so, or about 6 minutes till our break, and then another maybe 12 or 15 minutes after that.
Okay, great. Very good. So I'm going to talk about the Flash Awake, and after our break, I want to tell you what I'm into that I think is even more amazing than the Flash Awake. But the Flash Awake is this beautiful thing. It's the idea that we've all had these moments where we, maybe they come unbidden, they probably do, where we just kind of look up and go, holy shit, wow, I'm alive, the blue sky, life is great, I'm grateful, and those are those moments that we can actually cultivate through the Flash Awake. So all I did with that natural tendency of ours to kind of break out of our 3D, task-oriented, ego-driven consciousness we're in so much of the day and kind of break out into the larger perspective of true nature or the cosmos is to go, okay, let's take 3 breaths, and let's do it for 5 seconds in and 5 seconds out, and that's 30 seconds. And there's all this neuroscience built into that. That's the most powerful way, rhythm to be breathing. I can quote all kinds of research, but we don't need to go into that. And if you do 3 breaths and take 30 seconds, what it does, and Abraham Hicks talks about this, once you get past 17, 20, 25 seconds with an experience, it actually encodes into long-term memory, meaning that the nervous system is going, yes, this is important. I'm going to integrate this into my nervous system, as opposed to, if you will, a flash in the pan. Oh, my God, it's so great. I'm grateful. And then we go back to our tasks. And that's short-term memory, and the nervous system goes, not important. Didn't reach the 30-second mark. So that's why we stay with the Flash Awake for 30 seconds with the breathing to embody it. And in that time, you're breathing, you're being grateful, you're being open, you're being loving, and then you just kind of go, okay, that's good. Now I can go back to my life.
So it's like a mini vacation. It's like a mini soul vacation.
It is. It's like microdosing on enlightenment through the day.
I love it. That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Microdosing on enlightenment during the day. Where does awareness and mindfulness fit into that?
Well, if you're aware that you're going to do the Flash Awake and you're going to do the 30 seconds and the 3 breaths, you have to be aware. It drops you into your body, doesn't it? It makes you aware of your breathing all of a sudden. It breaks you out of your trance. And so immediately you're mindful and aware.
It's a pattern interrupt. Have you heard that term, pattern interrupt?
Totally. I love that term. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, because we habituate into the illusion of reality. It's actually a trance of reality. Isn't reality kind of trance, like when we're in all the time?
It's a trance. That's what exactly. That's what I say. It's breaking us out of that trance, that conditioning, that false illusion, that 3D, task-oriented, ego-driven consciousness we're in is the real deal. It's just one tiny slice of what's really happening right now, right?
I love it. So your book is called The Riddle of Wholeness, and you have a concept called the Paradox of Wholeness. Why is wholeness a paradox? Why is it a riddle?
Well, I think it's a riddle and a paradox because it always is helping to integrate 2 sides of what looks like a polarity. For example, a big polarity is like, I got to focus on myself, I got to take care of myself, self-care, stay healthy, blah, blah, blah. That's important, isn't it? And then the other side of that is, I've also got to be aware of others, and maybe I can be of service in some way. Maybe I can be helpful to this planet in need. So that's a paradox. Do I focus on myself or focus on others? How about both?
Yeah,
the paradox of... Go on.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just got excited here because in quantum physics they talk about the particle and the wave, and Niels Bohr, who's one of the founders of quantum physics, said opposites are complements, so that it's not right. They're complementary.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It really is about perspective, isn't it?
Right.
That old cliche. Are we looking at a wine glass half empty?
I love that. I love that cliche. I love that cliche. Have you heard of the concept of Have you heard of something called a parallax?
I have. Tell me about that.
Parallax is like that famous image of an old lady and a young lady. Like you look at it one way and it becomes a young lady.
That's right.
Yeah, everything is kind of like parallax. It's like just depends on how you're turning your head, either literally your head or your perspective. And that's the power of perspective. And the power of perspective is like the greatest gift we could ever. If we have a maker, a creator, then the greatest gift he could have given us is the power of perspective.
It truly is. Sounds like we're going on break now.
Yeah, we're going on break. I want to talk about the unifying field and how that plays into health when we come back. Okay, Dr. Fred?
Okay, great.
All right,
Cool.
Dr. Frederick Wiedemann is with us. His website is unifying.com, UNIFYING. More with Dr. Frederick Wiedemann on the bright side right after this. Okay, we are back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're talking to Dr. Frederick Wiedemann. His website, Unifying, UNIFYING.com. Dr. Fred, so we have the unified field, but you say unifying. What exactly is the unifying field versus unified field?
Okay, very good. Right, because it's in the process of everything is in the process of being unified. And I actually want to take your question and jump off into something I want to discuss with you that I think is relevant for you and me and our audience that's interested in health and wellness. And, you're an alchemist that's brewing these amazing skin products in your lab. And, longevity is like highest quality kind of supplements you can get. And, you're in this field for people's health, and I am too. And I recently had this realization after, if you will, 45 years of being in the trenches as a psychotherapist, psychologist, clinical psychologist, just how powerful and important health is, especially as we live in this supercharged kind of world is fraying, I mean, you've got the super wealthy, right, that are doing just fine in their little bubbles, but, there's billions of people suffering right now, and I think that the environment's degrading and so forth, and the bottom line of that is that we, people like you and me and listening to this program, have to keep ourselves really healthy. That's my latest, passion. And one of the things I discovered in the last 6 months that you may or may not know of, I'm curious to say, is 3 different, but I'll just focus on one different medicine, if you will, from the Amazon rainforest called the Cambo frog detox. Do you happen to know anything about that?
Never heard of it. Help me.
So let me just give you a little paragraph, okay? This is a frog. The indigenous tribes have been using this frog for 2,000 years.
Is this like 5-MeO? Does this have anything to do with 5-MeO?
No, that's the bufo toad.
Okay, gotcha.
The bufo, okay, that's a different frog. This is a frog. They take the secretions. They burn a little tiny place in your skin. They put the secretion on it. It goes into the bloodstream, and you detox. You feel flu-like symptoms. You feel really shitty for about 15, 20 minutes. Some people, purge, vomit, or you're on the toilet or whatever. You're shaking, sweating, and then boom, 20 minutes later, you come back and Yes, you've had this profound detox. It could take, weeks through fasting or whatever.
Spell that for me.
Okay.
Camu?
It's Kambo.
Cambo.
Frog. And so I've been trained in that. So I did it, going, holy shit, what is this? And it was so cool because when I did it, they had a person with an electron microscope there, pricked my finger, put it on a slide, looked in the electron microscope before and after this detox, this 20-minute detox. And before, we have a checklist of 30 different criteria in the blood we were looking for, and I could see the parasites and the undigested proteins and the poor kind of sluggish red blood cells and the molds and the candida, all this crap that you can see with an electron microscope.
Do you have to go to the Amazon? Do you have to go to the Amazon?
No. authorized, trained to do it here in Boulder. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, wow. How do people get a hold of you if they want? How do people get a hold of you if they want?
Well, I think do you want me to give you a phone number? People can text me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, 303-619-1890.
Okay, so if that's information about this kombu frog detox, that's what it's called?
Right.
That's fascinating. I'm going to look into that.
So I'm going to just wrap it up, and then you can ask me a question about it. So the reason I think this is so important and why it ties in with you and your show and everything you're doing is for us to be really strong in our immune system and have our blood flowing and everything detox and really be at our full potential, right? That's what you're about. Mm-hmm. That's what your products are about. That's what I'm about. So that we can help in this highly kind of collapsing world of ours that we love, and people are suffering in.
That kind of leads me to my next question, and I definitely want to talk about the Green Joy Flash, so we got to leave some time for that. But what's your take on what's happening in the world today, in terms of viruses and vaccines and all the stuff that's happening?
I think it's getting worse. I think it's getting worse, and we're going to be facing these things for the next number of years. COVID's not going away. All these, viruses are not going away. The environment is deteriorating, right, because of our stupid-ass human way of being in the environment. So it's up to us individually and collectively to really get our health back, right? So we can participate in healing the planet and being a force of light on the bright side, as you call it.
What is a good psychological strategy for helping folks deal with this if they're having mental health or psychological health issues coming out from the psychotherapeutic point of view?
Yeah, I think it's to understand that fear and anxiety about the planet is probably real. It's not imaginary. They're not crazy. They're picking up, especially sensitive souls, are picking up on kind of the vibe, if you will, the craziness in the collective field right now of us humans, and to go, oh, that's not the whole truth. I'm picking up on something that's real, but wait a minute. There's a bigger perspective here. I'm here to be a part of the healing of that and the restoration of our planet. So let me get my act together and let's go. Let's go marching forth into the bright side, right?
That's inspiring. All right, so I want to get into the Green Joy Flash. I imagine the Green Joy Flash is this 2.0 of the Flash Awake. Is that right?
Yeah, it's just basically that, exactly. The Flash Awake, adding all this neuroscience that I just told you about earlier, which I think made it much more, kind of relevant and neuroscience-based, and it gives people a sense of, oh, my God, I'm doing something real instead of imaginary. Yeah, so that's all it is.
How is the Green Joy Flash different or distinguished from the Flash Awake? And why is it green?
It's not real. You know what? It's because it gives it a little sexy term, and because it's the green flash. If you've ever seen a green flash of a sunset, right? And there's that moment where boom, there's a green flash. And it's like, holy shit! This is so cool.
Green is also the color of the heart chakra.
Exactly. Yeah. That's right. That's beautiful. And of life itself. And here we are in spring. And And
the Christ aspect has the color green. Christ is represented by green. So I was wondering if that had something to do with it. Real quick, the soul flow.
It does. Okay, the soul flow is kind of weaving ourself between our soul, our real self, our soul, between our 3D world, our task orientation that we have to do every day, balancing our checkbook, running to get groceries, etc., attending to our relationships, and something bigger. So I see this like figure-8 flow between being in 3D reality, task orientation, and going all of a sudden using the Flash Awake or what other means you can have to break out, oh my God, I'm living in an ecstatic universe. I'm living in an amazing planet. I'm living on a planet that loves us, and look at all the beauty and extraordinary, and medicines, by the way, since you're a pharmacist and an alchemist, really,
right.
That's your archetypal thing, medicines from the Amazon and other places. So there's that weaving of the soul between its 3D kind of more contracted state, but necessary, and the larger ecstatic realities.
That's kind of like a theme of all your work, is going back from one world into another world, between two worlds, like you say, and then unifying those worlds. That's the theme that runs through all of your work, and then accessing it.
Thank you for seeing that.
Yeah, that's really beautiful, Dr. Fred. You're awesome. You're awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the Bright Side. How do people get a hold of you if they want to?
Yeah. Do you want the website or my phone number?
Whatever. You want to give your phone number out? That's great.
I think the phone number. By the way, I just got a text from somebody that wants info on the frog. So here it goes again. 303 619 1890.
Awesome. And your book is unavailable, right? I tried to look for it. But
I think it's on Amazon. It was 1986, so don't even try to find it.
And unifying.com, UNIFYING.com is the website.
That's
so much
a really fun website. Okay, Ben.
Thanks. We'll talk to you again soon. Thanks, Dr. Fred. Dr. Frederick Wiedemann, his website, unifying.com. And that's all the time we have for today on The Bright Side. Thanks for listening, friends. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Have a wonderful, beautiful, awesome, spectacular day. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye for now.